Why, it sure is a good day in the West, Mr. Zach.
Oh, yeehaw! It's absolutely fandiddle-tastic out there today.
It really is. It's a good warm weather for us to feed our horses and just have a fun time here shooting and robbing people in the Wild West.
Yeah, that's what we do. Oh, speaking of shooting and robbing, here comes someone now.
Oh my, it's a new person.
Welcome. I have come all the way from Pennsylvania, and I was wondering if I could get myself a drink.
Oh wow, we sure haven't seen your kind around here before, stranger.
No, we ain't. Your voice is funny.
There is not much of a call for people of my kind to be in a location such as these.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it sure is strange. Now, what can we do for you? You want a drink? I can get you a beer.
Oh, I'd like something a bit more vintage, you say, from the year 1987.
That's a very specific year.
Well, I do indeed have this bottle of whiskey. It's been aged since the 80s. We can crack that one open.
Oh, I don't know about cracking the whiskey. Can't we crack something else open?
Maybe you have something in a deep red. A deep red, like blood red wine.
You want some wine?
Vine. I'd like some vine.
I don't understand what you're trying to get at, sir. Clearly you're after wine. Is there something else you try to imply here? I don't quite understand it.
Well, clearly, right in front of you is there's just a big bottle of wine that's from the Lost Boys company, but that's taking away all the attention. There seems to be a wine just behind it, and could I possibly have a look at that?
Oh, you want some vintage Bigelow wine? I can crack that open right now. Let me get ourselves a little bit of wine in the glass.
You sure do love to crack open things. I don't know if
I
you
love cracking
crack
things open. That's why when I was born, my dad was cracking open some peanuts, and do you crack open peanuts? I don't even know, but I've been cracking open nuts since I was a kid.
I always thought it was weird. You love to just crack open everything. It was just.
I love cracking open things. That's right.
Can't get you to open a door without cracking it.
It's always my case. If you find one catchphrase, stick to it. Yes, let me have a taste of the. Oh, it's very rich and quite romantic. It's quite dark, almost near dark.
Oh, well, howdy ho. That is the name of a movie.
Yeah, that was a good reference, I thought.
Hello and welcome to Oldie but a Goodie. Yeehaw! It's the podcast. We talk about movies from 1987 in the order they came out in, and this week we are reviewing we're reviewing Near Dark.
Cracking open a good one.
Cracking open a good one. My name is Sandro. That other cowboy voice was Zach.
Yeehaw!
And for the first time ever on the podcast to talk about a movie that he hasn't seen before, we've got Rob Lloyd.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me along. I've been wanting to see Near Dark for, over, about 30 years, but I'm a chicken shit and don't like horror movies. So, to actually sit and watch, I did have to watch a lot of this with my, my fingers in front of my eyes, but I got through it, and holy crap, I'm so excited to finally talk about this film.
Now, originally, this episode was meant to be coming out just a week or two before a show that we were doing that involves a lot of characters from a popular movie, of which there's a lot of actors from that movie in this movie, but we can't really make that connection now because that's not happening. But it's kind of amazing how many Aliens actors are in this film.
COVID takes another victim. Well, that's the thing, this is a amazing thing. This is Catherine Bigelow, Academy Award winning, the first female director to win an Academy Award for Best Director, Catherine Bigelow. This is her second film, and at that time she was mates with James Cameron. Later they'd go on to marry for a little bit of time, and then they divorced. But yeah, because she had this backing and support from James, and so she would have known the cast from Aliens, and there's actually a brief and you'll miss it cameo from James Cameron in the film. There's the movie theater is playing Aliens, and of course, yes, it's filled with three of the cast of Alien that came out the year before. So it's all tied. But the great thing is, it's a bit of nepotism here, working within the people but thankfully Bigelow's an outstanding director. And so to get a bit of a a foot up into the industry from a successful friend. She didn't, she got there. Also, she's been able to make it on her talents, and hence she's won an Oscar for Best Director. And far out, you can see it in this film. It's shot absolutely beautifully.
It's good. Yeah, Zach, we've done a lot of horror films this year, but none of them, I think, have looked quite like this.
Yeah.
Maybe Hellraiser comes close?
Yeah, but it's a different. This has a more gritty realism, I think.
Yeah. Whereas Hellraiser is more low budget, set in a house.
Yeah. This has several locations. You know, it's a lot.
But it's a really low budget as well. It was shot on like $5 million, but it looks so much more expensive because of how it's shot. It's shot very well. And it's amazing what you can do when you've got a really creative, smart, intelligent director who knows how to work well with their cinematographer to shoot and make it look more expensive than it is.
Zach, what did you think of the movie, though? We'll go around the table with first impressions, starting with Zach. What do you think?
Well, I thought it was a great vampire movie. But it's a different, it's a more sort of gritty, not realistic, because I mean vampires don't exist.
What?
Hey, what?
Well, not anymore, because they all died at the end of this film.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good fun. I quite liked it.
Okay. How about you, Rob?
Yeah, I really liked it. I liked it's really interesting. It's sort of like it's got quite a naive approach to vampirism, much like that was of that time. It's quite a romantic view of the vampiric lore, but it's shot in such a beautiful, grim way, and there's some sequences in it which are quite confronting, but shot so beautifully. Like the scene within the bar is just is quite sparing in how it's shot, but it's like creates a visceral reaction. Like you don't see the cliche of the spiky teeth. No crucifixes and stuff like that. It's just sort of like a really refined version of it. So it's sort of like, daylight bursts them into flames, the need for blood, that type of stuff. But there's still this purity of vampirism, and they never say the V word. Much like in Shaun of the Dead, they try and avoid saying the Z word. Yeah. In this, they never say the V word. It's never said. It's just, I'm infected, I've changed. And there's still that sense of purity. This naive love between Caleb and May, which is quite interesting just to watch before vampirism developed in popular culture. I mean, obviously Anne Rice wrote her book series in the 70s, but it didn't become popular until the 90s. And then like with Twilight and all that type of stuff, it sort of like developed into a bigger cultural phenomenon within the zeitgeist. But here it's quite a pure version of vampirism, and there's a naivety to it as well, which I really found sweet, which was weird within the darkness and the grittiness and the dustiness of this Western vampire tale.
It's not very complicated. It's not bogged down by years and years of people building on top of the vampire lore of what can do which and when.
Yeah, little brief mentions like Homer, the vampire child, mentions that he turned May. Brief mention of, that Lance Hendrickson's character, Jesse, was fought in the Civil War. Little things like that, little drop up. You don't know everything, and this nomadic existence that they have is, it's just really brought down to its purest sense, which was quite refreshing.
And it's interesting that they've managed to do that and not make it feel quaint. A lot of the time we get movies like this that have kind of been built upon, I'm thinking, like early zombie movies, for example. They feel very quaint compared to like what we get now. Whereas I think with this, it doesn't feel like that, and they did a good job. There's some things I didn't love. I think for this movie to really work, you've got to buy into that romance, and I never did for a second. I don't know if it's because the actors weren't particularly great, or if it just they didn't give it much time in terms of the writing. They got very quickly into the nomadic life of the vampires after that, but I never really bought into the romance side of this at all, which I think held me back a little bit from loving it. But it's shot and just the craft behind the movie is amazing. So that kind of carried it through for me.
I felt near the end that they had a romance going. At first, it was very much like she wasn't crazy about it or whatever. But I felt near the end that their love was pretty deserved. You know, they went through trials and tribulations. Just the scene where she jumps out of the car with his sister, that was cool. I like that.
That was very well done. Yeah.
Hey, I want to be with. I choose you over them, sort of thing. You know, because before she chose the vampires, but at that point she chooses him.
Yeah, I found it quite that naivety came from the fact that Caleb never fed. He would only feed off May, so he would never kill anybody, and he was that moral compass for him. He would never go that far. Even though he was presented multiple opportunities, he would watch May kill somebody, poor old black trucker. But he started out as very unlikable.
Oh, he did.
Very unlikable. So that was his hero journey, to go from dickhead to he was an okay guy.
He's alright in the end. Yeah. We'll get into it a bit more in depth very soon, but right now is, of course, the time when, according to our contract, we have to plug our Patreon, Zach.
You can check out our Patreon at Oldie but a Goodie on Patreon. We got bonus episodes coming out. We got 2 minimum a month.
Woo.
We're doing some cool Evil Dead stuff, specifically the Evil Dead series.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, on Wednesday, we're doing Army of Darkness, and then we'll do the reboot just before Halloween, which will be fun. Or remake, whatever it is.
Reboot, remake, whatever it is. We'll see how good it is. I have a feeling it's going to be fun to talk about. And it was certainly fun to talk about the other movies. You can check out our opinions on there. Yeah, it was wild. It was a wild ride.
Definitely, and links in the episode description. Anyway, Near Dark, I chose it. Zach, what were the other options from this week that we could have done?
Well, Sandro, my boy.
Yep. Oh.
You had some very interesting options. We had Anna, a biopic based off the life of a Polish actress. Got a few Best Actress awards. This is probably pretty good.
Nice.
The Belly of an Architect. A surreal British festival movie about an architect who starts getting mysterious stomach pains.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I know. He just went to the doctor and fixed it all up. That's it.
That's the whole movie. It's 10 minutes long.
Yeah, this movie really speaks to me. It's called Big Shots.
What?
Because that's what I am. I'm a big shot. 2 boys borrow a car from some mobsters to go on a road trip.
Great.
We had House of Games. A psychiatrist helps out one of her patients with a gambling problem, but ends up going along with his games. And then, Like Father, Like Son. Father and a son swap bodies. Whoa.
Oh.
And then Slam Dance. It's a cartoonist ventures into the underbelly of LA where he's framed for murder, which is a bit of a bummer.
Oh, what a bunch of... Have you seen any of those, Rob?
I only picked up every second word because Zach's accent was so dense.
You have a problem with the way I speak, sir?
No. I'm not putting it on you. It's me. I should have put subtitles on. So.
Yeah, of course. Well, it turns out you were watching it on binge, and there's no subtitles to be had.
Oh, no.
Fuck you, binge.
Don't worry, we'll put subtitles in the podcast in post. You know.
Like Father, Like Son could be fun, but this was the choice there. This was the choice.
Well done.
Well, let's jump on into it. This was released October 2nd. As we head into the spooky month, good film to start it off with. It is directed and co-written by Catherine Bigelow. Second ever movie. She's done heaps of other films after this, like Point Break, that Keanu Reeves thing, Blue Steel, that Jamie Lee Curtis thing.
Yeah.
And then she won some awards with Hurt Locker. She did Zero Dark 30. Her last film was in 2017. It's called Detroit, which I haven't seen, but I've heard that it's quite harrowing.
Yeah, about the race riots in Detroit. John Boyega, really good cast.
She co-wrote it with a guy called Eric Red, who was behind a horror film called The Hitcher in '86.
Yeah, with Ruka Hauer.
So yeah, some great names behind this. For the cast, it's pretty solid as well. We've got Adrian Pastar as Caleb Cotton.
Oh, he was my pasta.
He's done a lot of TV. He's in Heroes. He's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was in Supergirl recently.
Yeah. So his turn on Heroes season 1, the only good season.
The only season, quite frankly.
Yeah, pretty much. Really, he's very good in that, and I think he's done a couple of movies here and there. But yeah, he was married to one of the Dixie Chicks, and apparently their song "Gaslighter" is about him. So you can see that marriage did not end well.
Oh, no.
So that's a bit of a fun, not really a fun fact for you.
Thanks for that fun fact.
You're welcome.
Fun facts.
Here's my controversial take. He reminded me of Hayden Christensen, but not in a bad way. In a way where I was like, I'm getting some strong Anakin Skywalker vibes from this guy.
Yeah, because he's kind of a dick.
I can see that.
Yeah, like the opening scene, his opening lines is him and a guy that he hangs out with, and they just...
Oh, you want to go, man? Let's go, man.
I'm just there going, God, I hope this guy dies. Oh no, we're following him through the whole film. And we never see his friends again, thank fuck.
Well, here's the thing. So, did you have any stakes or anything where you're like, oh no, he's going to die. Oh wait, that's what I wanted.
There is also Jenny Wright. She plays May. She was in a horror film called I, Madman, which was titled hardcover in a few countries. She's also in The Lawnmower Man. Hasn't done too much else aside from those two things.
She's very good in this. She's got this almost ethereal type of, otherworldly essence to her, which is quite like, so she's able to balance the light and the dark of her character really well, which is not an easy thing to do. Like, you can see that she has that bloodlust and that darkness within her, but she has this almost poetic view of darkness and shade and people, and she does the balance well. Yeah,
she's quite good, as is Lance Hendrickson as Jesse Hooker. Of course, he is Bishop in the Alien franchise. Apparently, he's also one of the gorillas in the animated Tarzan movie.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. In the Disney one, yes. He's great in this. He's very charismatic in this. Very different to other stuff I've seen him in. He's got this nice charm and this menacing charisma about him, which is wonderful. Yeah, he's really good. As soon as they introduce him and they're like, and that guy's Jesse Hooker, and you're like, oh, who's this guy? Straight off the bat, he is just eating the scenery. You're like, who is this? Well, him and Bill Paxton, who we're going to bring up next, they own this film, the both of them. It's just their film and they just romp it home. And Bigelow just goes, here's the camera, and just play. And they both have two very different levels and styles of performance, and they just complement each other so well. Yes, Bill Paxton, he plays a character called Severin, which is funny because he's always talking about severing faces from the heads, which is great. Using the spurs from his on his boots. On his boots. He's, of course, from Aliens, True Lies, which we've reviewed here before. He's in Titanic, Twister, Edge of Tomorrow. I think he's in Spy Kids as well. Yeah, a little bit. Yep. And Predator 2. So many great films. Great, yep. Big Love, his TV show. He was great in that. Yeah, no, he's great. And probably, from what I could tell, the reason most people remember this movie is because of him. So yeah, he's like the standout performance, and this is what, it's a good follow-up. I mean, not many people saw this film because, spoilers, it wasn't a box office hit, but he definitely got a good reputation following on from Aliens and this. That same type, it's got a similar energy, whereas Hudson is very loud and big and boisterous and the coward and all filled with a bravado. There is a bravado here with Paxton's performance, and that's what he does well, that big bravado-ness, but there's a menace and there's a hunger underneath that. So it's a subtle shift from bravado coward to bravado evil, and it's still a very intimidating. But even when he's being absolutely appalling and he's just treating humans like meat, you just can't help but be drawn to his performance. He's cool. He has some funny goofs. I like that boy.
I love
He's
night
great.
and day. Like Rob's like, yeah, look, he's awful and, charisma, but you hate him. And then Zach's like, some fun goofs, some fun jokes here and there.
What a funny guy. What a silly boy. What a silly boy.
Furthering the aliens connection, Vasquez is in this as well, playing Diamondback. We've got Jeanette Goldstein. She's also in Terminator 2 as well, very briefly.
That's right. Yep. She's and she's in Terminator, in Titanic as well.
Yes.
So Cameron does like to use his. He has an ensemble of actors that he likes to keep on giving work to. Yeah, and she's got a bit of a thankless role. She's there and she's got this presence, but she doesn't chew as much of the scenery or doesn't.
No.
She just lets the attention come to her as opposed to trying to draw the attention.
I like the little relationship she had with the guy.
Oh, her and yeah.
Yeah, cutie little relationship. Oh, look at those cute little tykes going at him, murdering people for sustenance. Oh, you.
She was very menacing. I mean, the scene where she just takes the waitress. It just happens in a flash, and it's It's like, oh, okay. Well, this turned this scene up to 11.
Yeah.
All right.
And then finally, he would have been 12 while filming this. We have got Joshua John Miller as Homer. I think he acts every now and then, but he is mainly at the moment a writer and producer on this crime TV show called Queen of the South that I think he is, writing with his life partner, which is great. But he is in a bunch of other films. He's in the Keanu Reeves movie River's Edge, which came out earlier in 1987, features an incredibly camp performance from Crispin Glover. That's very fun. And he is also in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which, look, isn't as bad as everyone says. It's just very weird.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to also mention Tim Tomlinson, who plays Caleb's dad, who was a big a B-grade, C-grade director video movie star, and I remember him from the 90s TV series The Flash, where he appeared in the pilot as Barry Allen's police hero brother Jay. So whenever I see Tim, I go, it's Jay from the 90s version of The Flash.
What a great show. I like that show a lot.
I like it too.
I just imagine you sitting there, and every time he goes on screen, you go, I
pretty much did that, yeah.
It's the guy from The Flash! Yeah.
The Flash holds a very special place in my heart. It came out when I was in year 8. And that's the show, because it would go on at 8:30 on Tuesday or Thursday nights. And at that point, I was in year 8, and I still had to go to bed at like 8:30. I think it was 8 o'clock or something like that. I was still quite young. And I said, please, can I stay up so I can watch The Flash? And Mum and Dad said, all right, okay, you can stay up late and watch The Flash. So that was when I was allowed to start staying up later. It was because of John Wesley ships The Flash.
Wow.
So there you go.
Just imagine trying to do anything else in the other room, and every 5 minutes you go, that's
It's this guy.
Hey, it's that guy. You're near dark.
For the reception, we've got 82% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics. Audience score is 74, so still very positive. 7 out of 10 on IMDb, 3.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. A lot of people were just loving the combination of the horror and the Western genres, as well as how this kind of pushed vampirism forward in a way that a lot of other vampire stuff at the time, like The Lost Boys, didn't really do.
Well, yeah, it's really interesting because I found Catherine Bigelow wanted to make a Western, but no one would fund a Western in the mid-'80s because it was all, big blockbusters or sci-fi films. The Western era had died. It was huge in the 60s and the 50s and starting into the 70s. But then, bringing in this other writer who was known for his horror stuff, going, well, if we blend it with another genre, we'll be able to get funding. And the vampire thing was starting to happen. Fright Night came out in 1985 and was a big hit. And of course, Lost Boys was being made. And that's why this film got lost in the crowd, because it came out so soon, around about the same time as Lost Boys. And Lost Boys became this, this moment in pop culture, whereas Near Dark has become incredibly influential. I think Near Dark is a lot more timeless in many ways. Lost Boys is so much of that, mid-80s time period, and that's why it's so beloved, because it's so quintessentially 80s. Whereas Near Dark has those 80s elements, the soundtrack very much so, and some of the plot resolution in the third act is very, in many ways, a cop-out, but very much, 80s era generic kind of conclusion. But there's a timelessness to it as well that stands the test of time, and that more so than Lost Boys. So, yeah.
Yeah, Lost Boys came out the same week that we did the James Bond movie, so we didn't get to cover that. But that might be a Patreon one, because I wouldn't mind revisiting it, but this is definitely the choice vampire film from 87.
Yeah, Lost Boys has a lot more, it's, teenagers, and the whole thing was, be young forever, all this type of stuff. It's fun to be a vampire. So it's that type of teenagers, and, it's got the comedy element with Corey Feldman and all that type of stuff. So it's very gimmicky type stuff, whereas Near Dark doesn't really have that. It doesn't have the demonic faces that the vampires turn into. It doesn't have them flying. It doesn't have the pointy teeth. And that's what makes it even more viscerally uncomfortable, is that you don't see the teeth come out. And when you see them attacking, or they've got the blood on their mouth, their teeth are normal, and you just there, it feels even more uncomfortable than, ooh, I've got a scary angel face like in Buffy.
Yeah, because they seem more realistic, more real, and they're just people. People that can come in and murder everyone.
And because it's so practical, because it's the era of practical effects, the stuff like when Caleb's dad shoots Jesse and he regurgitates the bullet and puts it back. That's because there's none of that showiness of the vampire teeth or the crucifix, stuff like that. It's really raw, and so that type of stuff is even more, like you're saying, realistic, as opposed to, as soon as you see the pointy teeth come out, you go, oh, okay, we're in safe ground. But I never felt really safe and secure in this film, which is good. You want to feel uncomfortable.
In terms of the budget, this cost, about $5 million. Zach, what do you think it made in the US?
Well, we talked about it not doing as well as some of the other movies, so I'm thinking it's around the 7 mil is what I'm thinking. It's it didn't do great, but it still made some of its money back, and now it's become sort of a more cult classic that people can go back to and really appreciate.
Okay. How about you, Rob?
Yeah, I don't think it made its money back, so I'd say...
Oof.
Yeah, I think it was a real disappointment, which is a real shame, and so I think it's under the 5, so I'd say about 3 or 4. So yeah.
Well, Rob has hit the nail on the head, if you will. It's $3.4 million this week.
Yeah. That's so sad.
But you kind of, because films that really did well at that time, finding that balance of something, early 80s stuff like E.T. was so popular because it's so timeless. You can still watch it now. Lost Boys was so much of the era. Once you get into the mid-late 80s, they really embrace that time. Whereas you watch Near Dark, it feels like a movie that they'd make nowadays. It seems out of its time. It's like Return to Oz. You watch Return to Oz and you go, this is way too early. This film came out I think it came around about the same time in the 80s. But it's a film that should have been made, on Netflix now. Same as Near Dark. This is a film that is ahead of its time, I think. So
yeah, this could have been a Netflix series. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I could see this. A couple of seasons would have been good.
I could definitely see, and you could take that time to develop May and Caleb's relationship, so you could get to that point of going, oh, I get this now, because it was so rushed. You're there going, oh, you can stay with us forever. I'm going, dude, you've only known him a couple of hours. And most of that time, he's hiding his keys and threatening not to let you go until you give him a kiss. He's being
Yeah, you could have the whole first couple of episodes where we have no idea that she's a vampire. No even hint. It just so happens that they only go to restaurants or milk bars or whatever at night,
Oh, definitely. You could just see that relationship building up over a couple of nights.
And then it starts getting suspicious as these clues, she only comes out at night. She never eats anything when they go out.
But just ice cream. She eats ice cream.
Just ice cream. Yeah.
Before we jump into the synopsis, there are a few taglines. I think when we had you on for Spaceballs, Rob, there weren't many taglines, but there are a lot for this one, thankfully.
Oh, really?
Here we go.
This is all according to IMDb, but I looked some of them up and they seemed legit. So let's go through them. The first tagline is, "Pray for daylight."
Ooh.
Yep. It could be predicting, Prey to get that Sylvester Stallone movie made in the 90s where they get trapped in the tunnel and they have to escape.
Yeah.
That's an obscure reference for anyone who remembers the lower end of on Stallone's career in the 90s.
Wow.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. The second tagline is, "The night has its price."
Yes, it does.
Yep.
Ooh, I like that one.
This third tagline's interesting. It's, "Killing you would be easy. They'd rather terrify you forever."
Ah, boo.
Yeah, no.
Thumbs down.
That's on the nose. That is on the nose.
That sounds like what they'd do for like a traditional vampire movie, not this one.
Yeah.
It's not the point.
The fourth tagline is, "At dawn they hide, at dark they wake, at night they search for blood." It's just a list. It's just like a shopping list.
Because I think it's really interesting because the whole point of the film is not to be obvious about them being vampires. But then again, because they've just had Lost Boys come out, which pretty much says in the catchphrase, "It's fun to be a vampire." So people going, well, we don't know what this is unless you point it out. So, people say don't underestimate your audience. I think Near Dark's problem is they overestimated 1980s audiences, and that's their fault.
That's true. They should have gone for more of like a Western approach. That might have worked, like, what's that movie called with Rick Moranis? And it's like a Western, it's like a neo-Western that came out in like 84. I can't remember.
Oh, Spaceballs. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Spaceballs.
We reviewed that one, remember?
Yeah, you can check it out.
The final tagline is the big one, the big tagline that's on everywhere, and it leans into an interesting angle of this film, and the tagline is, "In one hot, hungry kiss, he gave her everlasting love. She gave him everlasting life."
What?
Okay, if you do any tagline in that voice, Sandro, it automatically loses credibility.
Oh, I know.
For me, that automatically gained credibility. Yeah. Come on, for.
Yeah, it's really weird because I didn't know that this was a Western. It wasn't until I started watching the film and then I started researching it. I went, oh, okay. Like with that opening shot, I'm there going, like Caleb's there in his cowboy hat. I'm going, oh, okay, all right. And there's certainly vibes of, it seems a little bit True Blood as well. I know True Blood's more, bayous and New Orleans and that type of Savannah type culture.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up True Blood. It's the same idea but different location,
Yeah, it's the South, but not the deep South. It's more like it's the West, Southwest.
Yeah,
but yeah, none of the posters had informed me that it was a mashup of Western and vampire. All I heard was that it was a cool, darkish take on vampires in a more sophisticated way.
Yeah.
In the marketing or advertising of this, they never really pushed it. Like the main images of that image of Bill Paxton and the final confrontation on the... So it gives that a sense of the intensity of it, but there's no sort of like Western feel or motifs to it. But yeah, that could get a bit hacky, I guess. So
yeah,
well, that's what they were saying, right? They couldn't push out Westerns, so they decided to go a different direction and go like vampire.
Yeah,
and so they've tried to push the vampire thing while leaving the Western as more of a side thing.
Behind. Yeah. Which is a shame because that's the really strong selling point, and that's the theme of it. It's a Western.
I love the standoffs, where they're looking eye to eye, That was It's interesting. I wonder if it would have enhanced if they had more than one weakness. Because as we find out during the film, the only real weakness they have is sunlight.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we don't, there's no stakes talked about, which I kind of found cool. No silver bullets, because that's werewolves. No crucifixes. No holy water. It was just that sunlight thing. And even at the end, like when Bill Paxton's character Severin is blown up in the tanker, I'm there going, well, I know they burst into flame when they're in sunlight, but is fire something that will kill them as well.
An entire tanker of flames is a vampire's weakness. They're not invincible.
So you took it literally. So like, it's not just fire; it's an entire tanker.
No, you need a tanker. But I guess that makes sense because it's like fire, and that's essentially what the sun is, right?
Kind of like, yeah, I guess.
So they don't light a vampire on fire.
I mean, that's definitely the more like scientific approach. I think the reason in the original books why vampires don't like the sun is more of like a religious sort of thing, like the light kind of cleanses the darkness or whatever.
Yeah.
In the original Dracula, daylight isn't a thing. It's the only thing that can kill vampires is a stake through the heart. The daylight thing isn't introduced until Nosferatu, the film with Max Schreck. So that's where Count Ulloch is killed by the sunlight coming in. But yeah, so up until that point in vampiric lore, that wasn't a thing. They could walk in daylight, they can go out in the day, night, whatever.
And I mean, later on, we just have Twilight where you just get all sparkly if it's daylight, you know? Yeah.
Just get sparkly.
Yeah. So it comes full circle, really.
There are still people who defend those books and those films, like, Jen Spears. Anytime, Sandra and I even have a whiff of making fun of Twilight, she asks and goes, hey, right, okay, that's a hill she will die on. There are people who will die on the Twilight Hill and sparkle.
Look,
I don't get it.
And I'm for dying on the Twilight Hill if you're defending the actors aside from Taylor Lautner. They're all really good aside from Taylor Lautner. So
Oof. Look, Robert Pattinson has finally, come good, and Kristen Stewart's doing well now.
She's been good,
really good
for a while.
And there's some great supporting actors. The guy who played Bella's dad, he was always good.
He's good. He's good in that TV show Revolution that no one but me remembers, that Giancarlo Esposito was in.
Yeah, you're the only one who remembers that.
I'm the only one who remembers that show.
That's right. Moff Gideon was in that as well. Yeah, Esposito. God bless him.
Anyway, we are very far into the episode and we should jump into the synopsis.
Yeah, we probably should.
Though, to be fair, there's not a whole lot of plot here, so we will probably end up moving through it quite quickly. I did want to mention how the movie opens with the sound of mosquitoes buzzing. You've got that soundtrack kind of coming in from Tangerine Dream. They've done a bunch of films that we've covered, so it was good to hear their soundtrack again. And the first line of dialogue is one of these cowboy lads saying, "Dumb suck," as I smash the mosquito.
That's right.
Yeah, I was going to say, R.I.P. mosquito. If we were doing the animal, the rating system,
we did not see at the end of the film, no animals were harmed in the making of this movie.
Yeah, but there was a mosquito, right?
I think they got Industrial Light and Magic and Stan Winston, or maybe Rick Baker to do it. No, it would have been Stan Winston because Rick Baker did makeup and Stan. Yeah, so
and I believe that Frank Welker was the voice of that mosquito.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
But are we considering mosquitoes to be animals? That's the real question I want to pose.
No, they're hellspawn.
They are hellspawn.
Wow. Okay, we see Sandro's stance. What about yours?
Yeah, his true colours come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very foreboding. The bloodsucker at the opening shot, and Caleb doesn't know what he's in for.
Doesn't know. Well, you don't, if you went into this blind, you'd probably have no idea this was a vampire movie until 20 minutes in. Because it does take quite a while to really kick in that vampireness. So
yeah, when do you think's the moment when you finally go, yep, this is a vampire thing?
Maybe when she bites his neck.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm a bit like, well, it's the 80s. People were into all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes, we're a lot more pure now.
Yeah.
If anything, the internet has made us more boring and conservative.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I only go on conservative websites, so that's all I know exists on the web.
That's right.
So,
Exactly. We all just exist inside social media bubbles. That's too political.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, mozzies suck.
Hey, I hate that. Wasn't there a Twilight scary movie that was called Vampires Suck? That was like a parody of Twilight?
Yes, there was. Yes, there was. There is like the whole scary movie, superhero movie thing, Vampire Suck. But I don't think it was even done buy that. It's an even cheaper version of it. So
Yeah, I don't think that was a Wayne's Brothers thing. I think that was something
no,
else.
but the later one's got the Zucker brothers in it. Like the later ones, actually, the later scary movies actually got the guys. I think, say I'm wrong, the guys behind. Flying High and all that type of stuff.
Oh, I think they did, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I've only seen the first 2 scary movies, so I don't know. Anyway, random tangents aside, we see these 2 hillbillies and they're fighting because one of them went up and kicked Caleb's truck, and Caleb's not having none of it.
None of the scene matters.
None of it matters.
We'll never see those characters again.
But yeah, he sees a hot lady, a lass. Getting some of that cone.
Jesus Christ.
Damn, I hate this.
Oh my
Gotta
God.
get me some of that cone.
Who needs the internet where we've got Zach right here?
Oh, I feel like I'm reading the horny short story Hellraiser was based off all over again.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm just really hungry for some ice cream. You know?
Yeah,
I've been wanting an ice cream all day.
Oh, I bet you are. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ. He's very naive. He's very much in a small world, and you can see he's just stuck in this. He's very much a small town boy in a small town perception of things. Just your mama jokes with his boys, and
he's got that like I'm the king of this small town sort of vibe. He's the top dog, but he's the top dog of this tiny backwater town in the middle of nowhere.
he doesn't realize that he's a chihuahua.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sitting on a toadstool going, I am the king of my dominion. You're on a toadstool, duel. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So she's like, I need to get home. So he says, hop in my truck. And they drive around, and he just refuses to take her back home. They go on a detour that they go to see his horse at the ranch that he lives at, and the horse is scared of her.
And she tries to open his mind to, like, the poeticness of darkness and nighttime, and he's kind of bewildered by it, bemused by it, because he's such in a small world perception of it. He's sort of like trying to catch up with her, and she's sort of like light years ahead of his contemplation of things.
Yeah.
I could go out on a limb and say he has ulterior motives in this scene.
What?
Yeah, sorry. I hate to be so accusatory. But
Well, I think his problem is we didn't see the scene before he killed the mosquito. What he was actually listening to on the radio is Zach reading out with his sexy voice. So Zach's there going, oh yeah, I'm talking all sexy. So Caleb was in the mood because he'd listened to the sexy voice of Zach. So
what is my sexy voice?
you were doing it a couple of minutes ago. Go, oh yeah, eating an ice cream. Oh, having a cone all day. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, gotta get me some of that.
What was that?
What?
We're back in Razorback territory.
Yeah, a little bit of Rodney Rood as well.
Is that not sexy to you, Roy? I thought that was exactly up your alley.
Did you just call Rob Roy?
He did call me Roy.
Oh, sorry.
We've gone into roleplay era right here. It's all,
Oh, no.
I'll play Roy and you play Knack.
Oh no, Roy, your ice cream cone's dripping all over your hair.
Oh, God.
Don't worry, let Big Mac lick that all up.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Look, I don't think I'll ever be aroused ever again.
R.I.P.
Oh dear.
R.I.P. Rob's libido. On the 20th of the 9th, 2021, Robert's libido died today. He was buried in a solemn service.
I feel like I'm going to be testified in court, I have to explain why I murdered your libido.
Plead the fifth.
Yeah.
So they're driving around, have a bit of a kissy-kissy, but then, she realizes, while she's out and she realizes it's getting close, you go, what time is it? And he goes, oh, I don't know what time it is. It's timeless. She goes, no, you've got to get me home right now. Got to take me, please, please, please. She's getting quite frantic. He's there going, sure, whatever, baby. Hey, come on, let's relax. I'll let you wear my cowboy hat.
Yeah.
And she's getting more and more frantic. And then, of course, he does the dickish move. It's never good. He stops in the middle of the road, drops the keys down his shirt and goes, gonna have to kiss me if you want me to drive you there. And she goes, all right, I'll fucking kiss you. Kiss you with my teeth, you bastard.
Choppy chomp.
Chompy chompy.
And he's like, ouch, me neck. Oh, no, Bruce.
Yeah, that's exactly how he sounds like.
That's exactly him.
Yeah. Oh, my neck.
Oh, new brew.
I've been sucked as.
I'm sucked as, bro.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh, God.
She runs off. And he's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. And then his car won't work, so he's got to walk home. But oh no, the sun's starting to burn him up. He's not feeling so good.
This is such a good scene. I love how he's walking across this wide open field. The sun is coming up. You've got this great dawn scene, and he's just smoking. He's smoking out here.
It's really beautifully done, isn't it? It's really, like, the shot of you see his dad with his sister, and then they shoot from him, and they haven't noticed him from a distance yet, and he's just stumbling, and he's holding himself, and the smoke coming off him is, and then you see the Winnebago or the truck, the van coming from, it's such a beautiful shot. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how cinematographers get a shot to look that good, and it's a work of art as well as telling the story.
Yeah,
and this is where the real adventure begins.
This is where everything. Yeah, this is where Alice, trips into the looking glass. This is where she falls down This is where Caleb's adventure begins. He discovers his world has just opened up.
Yeah, he is pulled into this camper van that is rushing towards him. He's pulled into it by Bill Paxton, and Paxton's there and he's like, I'm going to separate your head from your shoulder. Hope you don't mind none, sir. And Caleb's like, what's going on here? There's a whole bunch of people. They're all here in this van. The windows are covered over. It's very dark. This is kind of, as well, where we notice that there's a lot of natural light in this movie, not so much artificial light. So if you are watching this movie with the lights on, you might not be able to see a lot of it.
You need to watch it near dark, as it were.
That's the name of the movie.
As soon as he's thrown in by Bill Paxton, Bill Paxton's already got the spur at his throat, hasn't he?
I think so, yeah.
He does love his spurs.
Can I just mention, it was quite odd with a 12-year-old boy grabbing Caleb by the junk.
There's a lot of stuff that the 12-year-old boy does that I felt very uncomfortable by.
Yeah, and it kind of they're going, I get it, because he's meant to be 80, 90, maybe 50-year-old in a 12-year-old's body.
I think he's in his late 80s sort of thing. Because they call him old-timer at one point,
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's clearly... I think he's the second oldest amongst them all,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably... Yeah, but May is definitely the youngest. She'd only been turned a couple of years, or a couple of decades. Yeah.
She said 4 years since she's seen sunlight. So
yeah, there was a line there, and she was turned just after she graduated or something. So she's probably 22, 23.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff we see Homer smoking at one point. He's approaching this 9-year-old girl at one point, which was not great.
Yeah, approaches Caleb's sister.
Yeah.
And they make a connection, and so, but less time than Caleb had with May, and Homer has automatically decided that I want to turn her.
Yeah.
And they're going, that's where a series would help to develop it out, because they're going, in movie logic, he has decided within 5 minutes that this is the one that he wants to stay with forever. They're going, really?
I always love the idea of child vampires, though. Interview with the Vampire, there's a lot of cool ideas in that film, but the idea that I love the most is Kirsten Dunst's, her character, and just how completely bitter she is by the end of that movie. She's like, I'm stuck in this young body for my whole life.
It can be done really well, but then it could be done really badly, like the Anointed One in Buffy, who's the young kid hanging out with the Master in season 1. So much so they didn't know what to do with him, so they just had Spike kill him off early in the second season because they went, I don't fucking know, just get rid of this kid, he's annoying.
Yeah.
So, but I think, Homer in this is not as good as Kirsten Dunst's portrayal of, an old soul in a young body. But there's some really good elements to it, just how, corrupted and mental this soul is within a child's body.
Yeah.
I give him credit, because we've seen a lot of bad child actors throughout our podcasting years here. And I'll give him credit where credit's due. It did feel like there was more of an adult, like, ideas going through his head, you know?
Oh, yeah, the actor's very good.
Yeah, stuck in a child body. Like, the scenes that he got, I think he did well. The scenes themselves could have been better, I feel.
True.
It was a really interesting dynamic how he clearly showed that he was not a child, but they were still treating him like a child, especially Diamondback, Jeanette Goldsmith. Like she did refer to him as, it spoke down to him very much like a child at one point, which was,
But I found that funny because earlier on, she's the one who calls him old man, I think.
Yeah.
So she both calls him old man and, Sonny or whatever, So she does both ends.
Yeah.
She insults him on both, which is kind of funny, I felt.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So they decide not to kill Caleb because he has been turned, and they're like, well, we'll give him a week. We'll see how he fits into the gangs. It's his trial period.
Yeah.
So he joins the crew for a little while. Meanwhile, we see that Caleb's dad is getting the cops involved. There's this amazing scene in like the sheriff's office where it's just you can't see anything, but there's so much smoke in that scene.
Yes.
Like it's such a smoky scene. It looks really good. It's very well done.
Beautiful. Yeah. It's the type of shot that Spielberg does really well. He creates these shots with so much mist and smoke and atmosphere in there. It feels almost like it's a mythological setting, and Bigelow captures that beautifully. Just the mundanity of country living with so much smoke, it takes it to this other level. It's fascinating stuff.
Smoking's bad for you kids.
Smoking's bad for you.
Unless you're a 80-year-old vampire kid, then that's fine.
Caleb attempts to run away. He runs down Main Street in the town where they're at. He tries to buy a chocolate bar, but cannot stomach it.
Can I just say, there's this one of the earlier roles of Mr. Troy Evans playing the plainclothes police officer who thinks that Caleb's high on drugs,
Yes.
and then realizes that he's just in a bad way, so he gives him the money for his bus ticket. Now, Troy went on to be a regular on ER. He was the desk clerk on that. So Troy Evans is really good. He's a small role. He's just been a bit actor in things, but he's been around for decades. And he got his big prominence in ER. But he's great. Little small role, and he did very well as the detective.
So he jumps on the bus, but he's just not feeling too well. So he hops off and he walks back to the hangar where the vampire family are hanging out and says, "Hey, look, May, I tried to run away. Yes, I did, but I'm just not feeling too well. I need me a spot of something to eat." And so she cuts open her hand and she lets him drink from her.
Oh, blimey, I could really use something to drink. Oh. Crack open a nice warm one.
Crack open a vein, please.
Yeah.
And this was probably one of the main scenes where I sort of bought into the romance a little bit.
And this is where this is why you need to have Caleb as he is at the start, because he loses all of that bravado. He loses all of that arrogance. He realizes he is way in over his head, and he just becomes so dependent on May. And May, actually, you see her strengthen up. She's been longing to have someone to look after, or someone to look after her or belong to her. So that it's a really beautiful teenage YA, as they call it nowadays, type of feel of sort of like the big strong kid is actually reduced to nothing, and his object of desire has the power and the control, and she looks after him.
I really like the whole sort of thing here where she has to take care of him because he's pretty much a helpless baby vampire at this point who can't do anything on his own, so she has to look after him.
Exactly.
Which, I didn't necessarily buy into the human element, I guess, of the romance, but when the vampire stuff was introduced, I think I was a bit more on board. I don't know. There's for me, this was a very passive watching experience where I didn't really get into any of the characters, but I don't think you're supposed to either. I think it's just more about the concepts and the visuals. So
yeah, very much so. But I could definitely see change in Caleb, which is good. And then this is where the purity of him comes out, because he is confronted with this darkness and this evil, and it's more of a case of he isn't really seduced by it. It's just a case of he doesn't have anywhere else to go, and he's scared to go home because he's ashamed of himself, and he feels as if his dad isn't answering. So that means dad doesn't care. So he's there going, this is all I've got, but he just won't cross that line. Whereas in more modern films, because of the era of Bella becomes a vampire and that's all she wants to do. But in this, Caleb's there going, no, I didn't really want this. And he always draws that line, which I found quite naive, but actually quite beautiful, that he didn't. He watched all this horror and this death around him, and he had that urge within him. But even when he said, if you don't do it, we'll kill you, he still couldn't do it. And so I really like that, and that brought actual backbone to his character, which I really appreciated.
Yeah. Zach, we get the scene with the trucker.
Yeah, and I felt so bad for this poor trucker. He was definitely the coolest guy in the whole entire movie.
Probably, yeah, like the friendliest truck driver I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, he was like, you running away from home? Yeah, sometimes you gotta run away, Sometimes you gotta get out of there. It's a bad situation. It happens, you're interested in the truck? Let me teach you how to drive the truck, I'm just having a good old time here. And I was like, oh, man, don't kill this guy. He's the coolest guy I've ever seen in my life.
He's a very good actor as well. Name's Roger Aaron Brown, and he has a very small role in a favourite of mine, Alien Nation.
Oh, he's sitting in that. Okay.
He plays the original partner of James Caan before he gets Mandy Patinkin as his partner. So yeah, he's got a good air about him and a confidence about him.
Yeah. The thing is, I think if they had found someone who wasn't like him, wasn't such a nice guy, maybe if they had found like a person trying to rob them or something, it would have been way easier for what's his face to kill. I just have this theory: if they had just found someone a lot more of a piece of shit, that he would have killed them and he would have been turned onto that sort of path more. I feel.
Yeah.
But because this guy's just the coolest truck driver ever, he's like, I can't kill this dude, So I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure he saved the entire film.
The true hero was the truck driver.
Yes, correct.
So all the vampires are like, you didn't kill, you suck, but not literally. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you one more chance, one more night to make a kill, and if you don't, we're throwing you out to the wolves, and by wolves we mean Bill Paxton. So they head to a bar, and this is one of the best scenes in the movie, this bar sequence.
Jeez, it really comes out of nowhere though, because up until that point they kind of separate off to get their own feeds. So it's this case of the blood is implied a little bit, but in this scene it's kind of stark how it all comes out. The menace and the dread in this scene is really hardcore.
Yeah, I was surprised going into it because in Australia this movie is rated R18+ for gory violence, and up until this moment I was like, but why is it?
Yeah.
It's not particularly gory at all up until this moment, but then they go all out for this scene and then also the bungalow scene, which we get later on, and they really earn that rating.
It's that they just arrive at a bar and the only mission is for them the only thing they want to do is just see these people as not even as food, as just commodities, because some of them they eat, some of them they just kill for the hell of it. They feed off most of them. But there's one guy that's just shot dead by Homer just for the sake of it, and the barkeep as well. So the menace really comes out here, and just how they play with their food, really.
Yeah, because it opens and we get Paxton. He's kind of harassing one of the guys at the bar and provoking him to get into a fight, which Caleb then finishes by throwing him, and we almost get an element of camaraderie between them when Caleb's like, did I do that? And Paxton's like, I'm proud of you, son, good work.
Yeah, it's great. He's having a blast at this time. He's like, I'll get you to punch this guy, I'll grab this guy drink and just spew it in his face, He's having a great time. Yeah. This is his environment, He used to go to bars when he was human. Now he's he's the king of everywhere he goes, you know?
And we get some good lines from him as well. He's about to bite into a guy, but sees that there's some stubble on his neck, and he's like, well, I hate it when they ain't been shaved.
Really dark humor, isn't it? Yeah.
It's finger licking good as he's like licking the blood off his fingers as well.
Oh, yeah, I wrote that one down.
Yeah.
Finger licking good.
Yeah, they slit a waitress's throat, which was... Ooh.
It just came out, like, just how menacing and uncomfortable it was. And then using the glass to fill up with blood was, just so horrifying.
And I guess the most notable kill is probably when Paxton uses his spurs to slice open the barman's face, which at first I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, okay, we're seeing him standing up on the top of this bar. He's clearly using his feet for something, and there's a sound effect. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. And then just these long slits appear on the barman's face, and I was like, oh, that's what this is. This is disgusting.
Yeah.
He loves some spurs, you know?
I don't think I've ever seen a horror film before to do a kill quite like that. That was quite inventive.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And there is, one last guy in the bar, and they want Caleb to, they want Caleb to finish the job. But the guy runs off as Caleb's trying to decide, how he's going to do it. So he gives chase. They run outside.
Because May tries to help. Like, she seduces the last guy in and dances with him and holds him and keeps him close and goes, I've prepared him for you. And Caleb just can't do it. He can't do it. So, and plus he's in a white shirt, the innocent guy. I'm going, anyone in a white shirt, I know there's going to be, blood explosions and all that type of stuff. But he runs away, so Caleb has to go after him.
Yeah, and we get some interesting, shaky cam as the cameraman is chasing this person. So we get that chasey, camera look, which was probably quite ahead of its time, actually. Like that was something that's become quite popular nowadays.
And used quite sparingly. That's the only time it's really used, and it's really visceral. It's a really powerful thing, and it makes me go, that's why people use it, because it is this powerful thing. But if you use it all the time, it takes away the impact.
Every single action movie that Hollywood makes, I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of it.
So, they're all upset with him. They're like, come on! We gave you this perfect opportunity! Come on! Just murder someone, you dick! Alright, well, you've got to go. We got to murder you, but first, we got to find somewhere to sleep, because, oh my god, is it daytime?
I do want to mention as well, as they are leaving the bar, we get that incredible scene where they're standing outside of the bar. The bar is quite far away. It's quite misty at night, and the bar's just on fire, and it looks really good.
Yeah. They really like their arson, these vampires. They tend to just burn everything as they go through. I mean, good on them.
That reoccurring image of flame and fire, whether it's bodies on fire or whether it's buildings on fire. Because they've taken away all the other elements of vampire killing. It's just, the flames from the light. It makes it, becomes this reoccurring thing. There's a shot later on as well, another really beautiful shot on where the vampires are on the top of a hill, which is all black, and you see the silhouettes of them with the backlight and the mist around them. Glorious shot.
Very Western shot, that one as well in particular.
Yes, very much so. It's more Western than horror. Yeah, very much so.
They head to they head to a place and they rent out a bungalow for the day.
And the old timer's a bit suspicious of him.
It's like, hang on a minute, didn't you get in here before? Haven't you been here before? And he's like, oh yeah, every 50 years I make my way around these parts. I'm just imagining, this guy's seen this one dude 50 years ago, and he looks exactly the same as he was 50 years ago. When he first took over after his dad retired or whatever, that sort of thing. I'm just imagining that.
Yeah.
But, they all go to sleep, but they got a knock on the door. Knock, knock, hello. Who's there?
No.
It's the police. It's the police who? You come outside. We have you surrounded. Oh, no.
Police who?
It's the comedy podcast.
Yeah, so the police have surrounded them because the guy who managed to escape before, he's gone to the police.
And why is he in the back of the car?
Because he needs to identify the perps.
Right.
Obviously. That's why they bring him out to the shootout.
Of course, yeah.
You're taking a very non-American view to this situation.
I know. I'm terribly sorry.
Yeah.
Why wasn't he given a gun as well?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, that's the really unrealistic part, is he wasn't shooting as well, you know?
In a normal movie, we perhaps would have gotten a scene with dramatic music where he shows up to the police station and is like, there's some people here, they've been alive for years, and the police are like, oh, we're checking our files, oh, it's the vampires we've been looking for, round them up, boys, we're gonna head on out. But no, not in this movie, they just show up.
I like how not only the cops had the gruff voice, but the guy who just ran in,
they all do.
this 17-year-old, he's like, oh, those vampire boys.
They have been around for a hot second. Yeah. Yeah.
But unlike your movie, this movie has some pretty good scenes where it has them putting on like goggles, like special sunglasses to look outside.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. And then they start to have this big shootout with the cops, and they're like, hey, fuck up, go get the car. Go get the van. That's your job.
But no, he volunteers himself, doesn't he? They don't tell him to get.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
He goes. It's out his instinct to go. I need to prove myself that that I'm not a failure.
He wraps himself in a cloak or a blanket or something and runs out. He gets shot a bunch of times. He lights on fire because of the stun, but he makes it. He makes it to the van, pops in, smashes his way into the bungalow, and all I could think is that poor old man at the front desk, he's going to have to pay for all of this, I don't know what his insurance is like, but does it cover vampires? I doubt it.
I don't know.
And then they drive out the other end, so it's sort of like just in one way, out the other.
And they head to another motel.
Yep, and they're like, hey, you did a good job. You had that fine work, Sonny Jimbo.
Yes, it turns into a mafia movie.
Yeah. Well, it does feel sort of mafia, them indoctrinating him into their group.
True.
I like even, what's his face? Guy with the spurs, what's his name?
Severin.
Yeah, Severin, he's impressed with his work, so he gives him one of his precious spurs, He's really part of the gang now, and I was like, this is great. They're all a gang now,
But it all turns sideways when Homer goes out to grab a can of Coke and spots a young girl about his age is like, do you want to come watch TV with me? I won't turn you into a vampire. It's fine. Come watch TV with me. It's revealed. Yeah, that is Caleb's sister. I mean, as an audience member, you already would have known, but it's a twist for the characters.
Yes. Yeah.
In the movie that we're watching.
And then they get the guy's dad, and he's like, let him go. And they're like, nope.
Yep.
That's the whole scene.
It's a really odd scene because it's the big dramatic moment where the two worlds collide for Caleb, but it's like just shot in this little hotel room, so they're all there really close up to each other going, hey, how's it going, guys? And it's really like normally in a movie like they should see like sweeping shots, long shots moving around, stuff like that, but it's all like awkwardly shot in a small room. And it just shows how really tiny the room is. So
yeah, it's true.
But then the dad shoots Jesse, and Jesse's like, you shooting me? Well, here's your bullet back.
Great moment.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a guy. What a fella.
And Caleb and his family, they make a run for it.
Yeah, saved by, I think, his sister opens the door and all the daylight comes in. So yeah, Sarah saves the day.
Yeah,
it's a really interesting moment because you're in the car and they're going, "I'm really sick. I'm not well. I'm infected." And they're going, and they never say it. They never say that. Yeah, because this is the scene where they're meant to go, "I'm a vampire. You're a vampire. You're a vampire. I'm a vampire." But they're there going, "They've changed me. They've turned me." You see what happens. You shoot them and they don't die, and they don't like sunlight. He goes, "We've got to take you to the hospital." "No, you can't take me to the hospital. You can't."
Sunlight sensitivity.
Yeah,
can only go out at night. Sucks blood. What kind of What evil creature is that? I can't.
Oh, I am so glad they didn't go down the Walking Dead route and just call them a weird name like, walkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, night walkers.
That's so annoying.
But it's a good scene of a limited amount of dialogue and a limited amount of words to get to the point of, what everyone's saying, but they're not just coming out and saying. Because the more meta postmodern reference would be, are they fucking vampires? They're fucking vampires. Oh my fucking fuck, we don't have fucking vampires. Yeah, there's fucking vampires. But they stripped it right back, and so it was actually so obvious that they never said it, but it was done really well. And that made me respect the film even more, that it was done. It never felt clunky. It never felt, it's those things. Those things? It was, really beautiful economy of words.
And the dad's like, all right, I'm going to give you a blood transfusion. That'll fix it.
Yeah.
And it does.
And it does, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it really does. Using his own blood on Caleb. And all right, does that for a couple of days and he's okay.
I didn't expect that one to work, but it did. I was like, oh.
Because a part of me was going, well, is it because he hasn't completely turned yet, or he hasn't killed, or he's only been a vampire for a couple of days? But then that's shot out the window with the ending of the film. But yeah, it worked, and it kind of what should have happened in this almost fairy tale-esque thing. It was like he never wanted to be, and he never fully embraced it. And this movie, apart from May, shows vampirism as evil. Like, they kill indiscriminately. They actually enjoy toying with the people they kill. So vampires are evil. And May sure has killed people, but, you kind of forgive her because she's hot.
Yeah.
Classic movie logic.
Yeah, that's the 80s logic of things. Sure, she killed people as well, but she's cuter than Lance Hendrickson. That's a matter of opinion.
He's fit as a fiddle. He's a human again.
Woo.
And you know what? They have a nice family dinner. And all I could think of is, like, what's stopping the vampires from showing up when it hits nighttime,
Well.
I mean, sure enough, that happens, but how come the characters didn't think of that,
Yeah, because it's not like the vampires don't know where he lives because they showed up to pick him up that one time at the start of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I was thinking. I was there going, well, they're going to have the final confrontation at the farm. But then it goes to they kidnap the sister.
Yes.
And so May is there to distract them, going, all right, is that just because you want to do the big action scenes out in the desolate streets like a Western?
Yeah. I think that's probably what they wanted.
Yeah.
Which, it's a good action sequence, but it's a very movie moment.
Yeah.
We get this action scene where Caleb is just kind of going through them all one by one. The first guy that he has to go up against is Paxton. And Paxton has this great quote where he's like, well, look here, sir. First, you're going to give me back my spurs, then I'm going to knock your tonsils out your asshole. How do you like them apples?
That's a great line. I really like that line.
Good line.
Yeah, he's great. And then he runs into him with the one weakness vampires have, a semi-truck.
Yeah, he just rams Paxton with a semi-truck. It's good.
Which we know he knows how to drive because of the cool truck driver.
Truck driver was teaching him how to drive.
It all comes around.
Chekhov's truck driving lesson.
Yep. Let's never say Chekhov ever again. He murders him. As I said, we're not sure if he dies or not, but he doesn't come back, so he's probably dead.
So yeah, assume he's been burnt to a crisp.
And then he confronts the rest of the gang, and they're like, "No, you can't have her back."
No, I think he confronts Jesse and Diamondback at this point.
Yes.
But then, what's her face is also there. I can't remember any of their names, to be honest.
May,
yeah, she's also there, and she's like, "Oh, can't we just give him the sister back and move on? Like, come on." And he's like, "Nah, this is personal now,"
Diamondback, while this conversation is going on, she sneaks around the back of them to throw a dagger into the back of Caleb, but Caleb dodges it, and and Jesse catches it in his teeth.
Oh my god, that's funny. That's right.
The sister runs up and he picks up his sister. Diamondback's sitting there with the knife, and she goes, "You know what? Get out of here."
Yes.
He runs out of steam as he's trying to run away, so he lets her go and he tells her, "Run, just run." And then the car comes in, swoops in, and picks her up again.
Yeah, because they're running back towards the house.
Yeah.
They make it back to the
field, yeah.
the field that they were running, where he was staggering across. Yes.
Yeah, it's all come back around to this moment again. But this time, they're kidnapping the sister.
And this is as the sun is coming up as well in this moment.
Yeah.
Because they're in the car, and Homer is trying to bite the sister in the car, and then May goes, well, fuck this, and gets a blanket and smashes out the back window, which is a pretty impressive stunt.
Yeah. And they roll out the back of the car.
And then you've got that whole, thing where you've got the car on one side of the street, you've got Caleb running on the other side, and then you've got May and Sarah, and, May's covered in the blanket. She's running towards Caleb. Caleb's running towards them. The car's revving. Homer is gone crazy, and he's jumped out, not even caring about the flames, and just running towards Sarah, because apparently after their 5 minutes together, he will willingly die for her. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
And then he catches fire. It takes a little while. We see his skin melting, and then he just explodes.
He explodes. He explodes, Sandro and Zach. He explodes.
Maybe that's really their weakness. Explosions. That's a real vampire's weakness, is explosions. And the sun just causes them to explode, which is why the truck exploding kills vampires, because it's the explosion.
Yeah, it's the
And so they're wanting to run them all down in the car, Jesse and Diamondback, but because there's no, all the ventilation or all the blocking of the light has sort of like fallen apart, they're just starting to burst into flames. They're driving faster and faster, but they're getting hotter and hotter, and then before they can knock them down,
big explosion.
Yeah.
See, this is where cinema logic comes in, because May has been exposed to the sun just as long as all four of them, but she remarkably doesn't start to set on fire, but the other three do.
It's because she's already hot.
It's because she's hot.
Movie logic.
It's movie logic. The more attractive you are, the more impervious you are.
Hey.
So, yeah.
This is where Michael Bay learnt all his...
Oh,
no, don't take the beautiful artistic work of Catherine Bigelow and mutate it into Michael Bay.
Yeah, don't do that. But also, it could be because she's a younger vampire.
Probably.
She's not as affected by the sun, perhaps. I don't know.
Maybe her hair's longer and it blocks it out.
He does grab her and, like, put his jacket on her, but she still should be, like, lighting on fire at least or something.
I mean, Homer is completely exposed, so he deserves to blow up.
Yeah.
within 5
Look,
seconds,
we can all
but
agree
she-
Homer deserves to pop like a ripe cherry, you know?
Yeah.
He just...
But it was that final confrontation had elements of sort of like the first Mad Max movie.
It
Maybe
did.
that's just me. It seemed that very low budget, low scale, abandoned wastelands, and just a busted up car and humans. Yeah.
It did feel like a very witness me scene as they're driving towards them, and then
Yes.
they just explode.
That as well.
You know.
And yeah, with all the Texan vampires dead, they bring May back to the farm. They give her a transfusion. She's now human again.
Thankfully, she has the hot gene, and so she can be turned back.
Yes.
Exactly. And it ends in a freeze frame of them hugging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is near dark. No one ever says the words near dark in the movie, and I appreciate that.
And no one ever says vampire or near dark, so I'm very happy.
What are we? Some kind of near dark vampire? I'm definitely going to give this a goodie. I think it's a really solid film. If you're a fan of vampires in general and you haven't seen this, it's definitely an important part of vampiric lore. Really, really well shot, mostly well acted. It's just the thing that's holding me back, I think, is that main romance. I just couldn't really buy into it, and that's a big part of the movie. But at the same time, I think a lot of the craft behind the film was enough to carry me through. So yeah, it's a solid goodie from me. How about you, Zach?
Yeah, I'm giving it a goodie. This is a good time. I love vampires. I'm a huge fan of vampires. The whole mystique about them, I'm a big fan of. And so I thought this was a really awesome take. A very, like, simplistic sort of vampires, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing complicated. There's no, like, turning into fucking bats or crazy wild shit. Nope, they're just super fucking strong. And they murder people, can't go out in the sun. It was a good time. We're probably running short for time, so we probably won't do add and remove, but what I would add would be to make this a Netflix series. That way we could flesh out all the different relationships that go on during this film.
Yeah.
Because that's the one weakness, is that we don't get these fleshed out relationships between everyone. Like, as we say, Homer's relationship takes about 2 seconds film time. So it really doesn't get that much fleshed out. But I feel like that could have, they really could have, had a couple of days to get to know each other, He got the worst lot of it, I feel.
No, you had it coming.
Yeah, that's true. You shouldn't have smoked. That's what happens when you smoke, kids. You explode.
Yeah, it's definitely a goodie for me. I mean, I was doing a bit of research beforehand. It's like it always shows up in like the top 10 vampire movies of all time. Like it's always up there quite high. Like a couple I saw, it was like number 2 or 3 in the top vampire films. But what was really interesting is the fact that most vampire stuff nowadays is because they've been around for so long, they have all this money. Like you look at all the vampires really in True Blood series, they have this like hierarchy, and so they have a bit of money and support and financial stability because they've built up their finances over hundreds of years. You look at Lestat, he's got money up out the wazoo, all this type of stuff. Whereas these guys barely are surviving. They're just going from night to night drifting. They're nomadic. And so it's that whole reality of they can't hold down a job for a long period of time because they never age. So they can't really have that stability to make money work. And their desire to feed takes them over so much that they can't have anything other than just survive from airport shed to closed off garage. It's that really interesting thing because most, like you look at the Cullen family, they've been established in that community for centuries, but they move around and they have money and opulent housing and all that type of stuff, where these guys don't have that. It's not a glamorous lifestyle that they lead. And I like that. I like seeing that side to the vampiric culture where they haven't got all their shit together. It's just assumed in most pop culture. They go, oh yeah, vampires are around for hundreds of years, and they're really good with their finances.
Yes, they're royalty. They all own a castle.
They're all running castles and fancy cars.
Although, actually, I think What We Do in the Shadows does a pretty good job at portraying a bunch of vampires who live in a share house.
I still need to see that, yeah.
But 3 goodies there for Near Dark. Good stuff. Before we move on to the reviews, very quickly, we do usually talk about sequels, if there ever are sequels. And there isn't a sequel to this movie, but there was, in development in 2006, a remake. They were working on a remake, but it was shelved because Twilight happened, and they went, well, we can't make this now.
That is really sad.
Twilight ruins everything again. I think it'd definitely work as a rebooted Netflix series. I think we've all hit the nail on the head, Heather. Yeah.
Call us Netflix. We'll set it up.
But yeah, we should do the Twilight movies at one point, Zach. I think that'd be fun. A fun distraction.
Yeah, you two should really do that. You two should definitely do that.
You too, not me. You too. Yeah.
I'll be more than happy to hear how it went.
It will definitely be fun to talk about. That I definitely agree. I don't know about watching them. I think I've seen the first one, or at least parts of it, because I remember I think someone at the house was watching it at some point.
Yeah, I've seen them on TV. I like the soundtracks, and that's about it.
Wow. Great praise from Sandro.
Anyway, next segment.
All right. It is time for Raving Reviews. It's the part of the show where I go to Rotten Tomatoes. This is where you find the best reviews, but not from the critics, because they're all 1,000-year-old undead. They're all grumpy, terrible reviews. No, you have to go to the audience, which is full of, people who only live like 50 years. I don't know.
Wow.
How long do normal mortals live? Who cares?
Yeah.
So, Rob, you've already been on the show. You know how it works, right?
I know how it works.
You know that I'm going to read out a review. And,
You're doing the thing in movies where they're like, you know how your uncle's in the hospital because of this and this and this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've been sitting here watching him, making sure he recovers for the last week. Why are you telling me this stuff? Oh, because there's an audience watching us and they don't know.
Yeah, let me explain the disease that is definitely being explained to you before you've been sitting here for the last 2 weeks. I'll read out the review, you guess the scores. It's a score off because there's 2 of you.
Yay.
Let's go.
Woo.
First up is Scott. Scott says, cheesy and melodramatic, all in a bad way.
Aw.
Saw it on TCM.
A TCM.
Yep.
Does that stand for the child? Yeah.
Don't end that sentence. Yeah. So, Sanjo, what do you think?
That's pretty negative. I'm gonna go 2.
Yeah, I'll give it 1.
Ooh, you'll give it 1. Well, it's a 1 out of 5.
Hey.
So,
Hey.
the next review. Oh, wait a minute. This must be a mistake. It's also by Scott.
Hey, come on, Scotch.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, this is Scott N. The other one was Scott R. My bad. Sorry. Yes, I thought it was the same person because they say, I think this is one of the dumbest movies ever made.
Oh no.
Transfusions can cure vampirism? Swing and a miss.
Aw.
Jesus. I give it half a star. Half a star.
Half a star. Alright. I'm gonna go 1.5.
Well, you guys are wrong. It's the same Scott. He rated it 1 out of 5. I don't know why there's multiple Scotts and they both think it's 1 out of 5, but they do.
Right,
they
right.
do. But we got a Peter now, and Peter says, dated. Great cast, though.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
2. I'll give it 2.
2.
These
Okay.
are all
Okay.
quite negative. Outdated doesn't necessarily mean bad. I'm going to go slightly more positive. I'm going to go 2.5.
Ah, it's 2.5.
Hey!
Hey, well
There
done.
you go. You're on the
Very
board.
nice. Swing and a hit.
As they say.
I watched Ted Lasso.
Speaking of sport, I bet Drew, he loves sport. He gives this 86/B+.
Oh, not this again.
I give it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. 86. Yeah, because like a B plus would be a 4, but 86 is 4.5, right? So I'll go 4.5.
It's 3.5. 3.5.
He does not know maths, this guy. The education system failed him.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
dear.
why I said he watches sports.
Got him.
Vicky says, this is not a Western. We got some great reviews this week.
As we said during the review, none of the promotional material markets this is a Western.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm going to guess that's probably a 1. I'm going to guess a 1.
I'll give it a 1.5.
It's 2.5. 2.5. Straight down the middle. We have Austin, who says, see what happens when you strip away the garlic and the cross. You're left with a haunting and powerful tale.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention garlic. We didn't mention garlic as well.
Yeah, garlic. That's a big old thing, you know?
It is. Have you ever held a garlic? They're massive.
Yeah. It makes it a lot less haunting if you could just throw a piece of pizza at them or something.
What
you
was
know?
that? Oh no, that was Monster
That was
Squad, where
Monster
they
Squad.
put the garlic pizza on the yeah.
Garlic pizza.
Now, did you guys rate Monster Squad? Did you rate a goodie or a bad?
Oh, we absolutely. A goodie, obviously.
Good.
Yeah, that movie's incredible.
And, well, in that case, man, I just say Wolfman's got nards.
Wolfman does have
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. I do particularly like the fact that they also have to get a virgin, but the virgin has to be a girl.
Yes.
I'm there going, all the boys there are virgins. They could easily just read the Latin.
Yeah.
I do like the beautiful moment where the crazy German guy is actually really lovely, and they go, "Wow, mister, you really know a lot about monsters." And he goes, "Perhaps I do." And he closes the door, and you see that he's got the concentration camp numbers on him. Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful moment. Anyway,
What do you think Austin rated this?
What was the review again?
I knew you'd say that.
Monster Squad is a great film.
That's what he said. He said, see what happens when you strip away the garlic and the crosses.
Right.
You're left with a haunting and powerful tale.
That's a good review. I'm going to guess 4 out of 5.
I'll say 4.5 out of 5.
It's 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5.
Nice.
And after that positive review, we have Tasso, who says, I'm a hero. I managed to watch this crap to the end.
Oh, Tasso, you piece of shit. I'll give it half a star. Or 0.5.
0.5. I'll go 1.
It's 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5.
Hey.
And we have Graham, who says, remember when vampires used to rip your fucking face off? No? Well, I do, smiley face.
Back in my day, I'm going to say that's probably a 4.5.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.5.
3.5. It was 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
Right in the middle.
What are the scores right now, Sandro?
I am on 2 and Rob is on 1 at this stage.
And finally, the last question is always double points. So if you manage to get this, Rob, you can squeeze out a victory.
Oh, it's title of my sex tape.
Yes.
Wow.
God damn it, Rob. It's from Scott again.
Oh, fucking Scott.
Scott says, need a way to forget Twilight? Well, there's this.
Okay.
It's the same Scott, so I'm tempted to do the same score because it's the same Scott.
True.
Yeah, well, it's Scott B.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. We've had Scott N, Scott R, Scott B.
I'm pretty sure only people named Scott got to watch this movie back in the day.
I changed my name to Scott to watch it last night.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm going to say 5 out of 5. I'm just going to finish it on a 5er.
Right, well, it's Scott, so it's 1 star. 1 out of 5 for me.
It's 4 out of 5.
Oh.
I believe, Sandro, you get another win under your belt. There you go.
Another one.
Well done, Sandro.
Well, there we go. That is the episode right there. Thank you for joining us again, Rob.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for indulging in all my old man ramblings that I do.
No worries at all. Do you have anything you wanted to plug? I mean, there's not much really going on at the moment, but you got socials.
Yeah, I'm on the Instagrams at Future Robbie. I'm on the Facebooks at Rob Lloyd Actor. I've got my YouTube channel with Rob Lloyd at Future Robbie. Type in Rob Lloyd Comedian, Rob Lloyd Actor, you'll find me there. Type in Innes Lloyd, find the Innes Lloyd YouTube channel and see all of our fabulous shows up there. So, yeah, that's the places to find me. I'm on Vimeo as well.
Oh.
Yeah. Where they don't have the same copyright issues as fucking YouTube.
I know. And you are also on a podcast that I do as well. We started it together, Nerd Out.
That's right. And then we recorded quite well for a time, and then we didn't record anything, and now we record every once in a blue moon.
Yeah, every now and then.
Every now and then. But the new one's coming out soon, isn't it, Sandro?
Yeah, I think that might already be out, or it might be out in a few weeks. We did all the MCU stuff with Reese, and then we've got some more stuff with Jen as well that we put up. And we're going to try and record whenever we can, but more often than once every year.
That would be good.
So links to all that in the description, as well as links to the show's socials, our personal socials. If you want to help out the show, you can review us on iTunes. That really helps out, as well as subscribing to our Patreon if you want to help out in a monetary sense. That is greatly appreciated. As Zach mentioned earlier, upwards of 2 bonus episodes a month, and all of this month for October, we are wrapping up our series on The Evil Dead. Next month, we'll probably do some bonus options from the past few weeks and months, and then hopefully Dune at some point on there. We want to get a new movie review of that in at some point.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna make Zach now pick next week's episode.
Oh.
Whoa. All right. Well, Rob, can you lend a hand here? Help me out with some of these movies.
Oh, I would love to lend you a hand.
All right. Good work, Thing. Way to lend a hand. Sorry.
Very
That's
good.
one of my favorite quotes. Anyway, let's do it.
The first option is called Au revoir les enfants.
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe that's how it's pronounced.
That sounded pretty good.
I went to howtopronounce.com and I had a listen.
Ah, nice. Well, it sounded like gibberish, so it must have been French.
Excellent. Poor French listeners. I think we do actually have some.
I love it. I'm just jesting.
It is an autobiographical drama about the director's experience during World War II, being in a French boarding school where the headmaster was arrested for giving safe harbor to Jews.
Oh.
But that movie does sound quite good. You've got a film called Baby Boom.
Oh no.
Diane Keaton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Diane Keaton and Harold Ramis.
Yeah, she's got to take care of her long-lost cousin's baby or something. But that is an option. You've also got The Princess Bride, which is some random kissing story. Moving on, Someone to Watch Over Me, a film about a police officer that falls in love with a witness. Ugh.
Yeah. That sounds much better than the last movie.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Offret, which I think translates into The Sacrifice or something. It's a Swedish movie about this guy who makes a bet with God to stop a nuclear holocaust. I'm not sure if that's a comedy or not. Making a bet with God would lean towards it being a comedy, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, that sounds like a comedy.
There is Surrender, where Michael Caine has a bunch of legal problems and he gets help from an artist and her rich lawyer boyfriend or something.
I'm sick of Michael Caine. Move on.
Whoa! And then your final option is called 3 O'Clock High, which is a meek high schooler gets forced into a fight with a new transfer student.
I didn't hear any good movies in there. Rob, did you hear any that sounded good?
Are you purposely avoiding Princess Bride?
Princess what? I've never heard of that movie before. Sorry, what are you talking about?
You guys.
You got us.
Hey.
You got our little job.
Oh.
Yeah, there's not really much options here when you've got The Princess Bride versus all this shit.
I mean, the French one sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, the French one does sound pretty good. Yeah.
Well, not cool, but interesting.
And Baby Boom, although not directed, it was produced by Nancy Myers, who went on to do, is known as the doyen of romantic comedies. But yeah.
Oh, it's got a positive tomato score, that film as well.
And you can watch it on Stan.
Or alternatively, we could watch The Princess Bride.
Woohoo!
Sorry, you can't be much help here, Rob, but there's clearly one choice.
There's only one choice. You can only do Princess Bride. Are you frigging kidding me?
You've got to do Princess Bride.
It's fantastic. That's one of my favourite movies. I love that movie.
I love that movie as well. It's so good. We'll do that next week. Let's wrap it up with the best quote from Near Dark. What have you got, Rob?
Yeah, it's got to be I'll bust your teeth out and they'll shoot out your ass by Bill Paxton. That line was incredible.
That was good. I really liked, I don't think we mentioned it in the synopsis, but there's a scene where Homer says to this random guy in the bar, "Look, there's a fly on the ceiling," and then just proceeds to shoot him.
Shoot him in the back, that's right, yeah.
Just shoot him in the back as he's looking up at this fly.
What about you, Zach?
Well, going on this theme of the bar scenes, I have to go with finger licking good. Because that's what I thought of the whole movie. It was finger licking good.
Damn right.